Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to another Boise Metro Chamber check-in episode from your only five-star accredited chamber in Idaho. And today we get to learn about D.L. Evans Bank from Ron Wolf. Ron Wolf is the SVP branch administrator for D.L. Evans Bank and just recently moved to Boise less than a year and a half ago. Hi, Ron.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Ron, you and I had lunch a couple weeks ago, and I just really was refreshed and sitting at the table and learning more about your background and a little bit about the D.L. Evans history and origin story. And we really connected, and it was a lot of fun. Being from the Pacific Northwest as well as you were born and raised, it's refreshing to see you out here. Anyways, these check-ins, Ron, are really great ways to share our member stories, their products and services. And what I like most about it is sharing the people that are behind the brands. And so let's start with that, Ron. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your role with the bank, and then give us a little bit of your history of work that led you into the financial industry.
Oh gosh. Well, my role, as you mentioned, is the senior vice president and branch administrator. So I support all of our retail branches throughout the footprint, which is 39 offices now in southern Idaho and northern Utah. So bank has expanded quite a bit over the years, which is exciting. I love what I do because I get to support all of our teams and frontline staff, delivering our services to our clients and communities, our engagement and how we build relationships and deepen those relationships with our clients and serve in the communities, give back and engage. So I just get to support them all in those efforts and kind of run interference between frontline and back office and how we develop and enhance products and services and be thoughtful about how we do business and take care of people. So it's great because my degree is actually in psychology, like I told you before when we met. Yeah. Never thought I'd be a banker, but I'm sure every banker out there will say this was the accidental occupation or whatever and how they ended up there. But it has been a blessing and best experience for me. This is 24 years now in community banking. Most of it I spent as a commercial lender, market manager, branch manager, but mostly as a commercial lending officer, and then became the chief banking officer of a community bank in Oregon. And then with family connections over here, like I mentioned, we have our youngest son is now married and we have two grandbabies here, and they live in Meridian. And my wife has a sister that lives in Boise, and a lot of family history through Twin Falls and the region over the years. So we just knew we'd make our way over here. It was just a matter of timing. Right. And I got introduced to J.V. Evans, who's our CEO of the bank now, and the Evans family through a process and just connections, and opened the doors for me to even consider coming over here. And it's just been the greatest experience.
You made it to Boise. Welcome to the Boise Metro, Ron.
Love it. Best decision ever.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. For those that don't know the history of D.L. Evans Bank in Idaho, why don't you take us back to the beginning and where it was founded and how long it was in its founding bank location before it started to expand, which I think was, we were talking about that earlier, which I thought was really unique.
Well, it was really fun when I was interviewing, get to know the bank and the history. So the bank was founded in 1904 in Albion, Idaho, south of Burley, and small town, ag town. But D.L. Evans was actually born and raised in Brigham City. He was born there in 1854, I believe. And then the family moved up into Idaho, into the southeastern region, farming, agricultural background, homesteaded, and all things led to Albion, where the bank was founded. It was there, chartered in Albion, and lived there was one branch for 75 years roughly until they opened the second office in Burley in 1979. And so then John Evans Jr., who's a great grandson of the founder, became CEO of the bank then and led the charge. And since a couple of his kids have been involved in the bank, JV is now the CEO. He took over at the end of 2022 as CEO. John, his dad, still serves as president and is over at the headquarters in Burley. Jim Evans, JV's brother, is the chief credit officer for the bank, and he expanded to that role at the end of last year. So some shifting and extension of the family history and oversight, which is fantastic. And they're just wonderful people. And then the whole premise for the bank was to build community, provide financial resources and tools to the markets and communities it serve. And it's grown now to, like I said, 39 branches throughout our footprint. And the impact has just been tremendous. And what we've been able to do organizationally and giving back and serving communities and helping build community, all things we talked about before that, are so impactful, and why we do what we do and what sets us apart as a community bank.
I love that story. Family ran, still family ran, with roots deep in Idaho. And what I hear is kind of going back into northern Utah now with some more branches too. Share with us about that.
Yeah. So, and of course, this is all well before I joined the bank, so I can't take any credit for it. But we moved into northern Utah about 5 years ago, into Tremonton, and then worked our way down. So now we're clear down into Salt Lake City. We're opening. So here's news for our future development expansion is we're opening an office in Orem. That'll come online this summer. We've got the charter, all the approvals, and working on the tenant improvements for the space we're going to occupy for the interim. Have a manager down there and expanding on that. So that'll be our 7th office in Utah. And then we have 32 throughout the landscape between the western Idaho over to Fruitland, clear over to Rexburg over on the east side, and all points in between, and into Sun Valley, and then Burley being the headquarters. So that's kind of epicenter there. And then our office here in downtown Boise, where JV resides as the CEO. So we've got, the neat thing about it too is there's connections with the family throughout each market and the history. But like I mentioned with Utah, it's really neat. I'm sure it's very special for the family because that's where D.L. Evans was born in Brigham City. We have an office in Brigham City. So it's kind of come full circle and really, circle the wagon, so to speak, and bringing it back around. And the history and heritage is just incredible because this is our 119th year. So next year will be 120 years for the bank. And to me, it's phenomenal. I came from a community bank in Oregon that celebrated our 100th anniversary. And I thought, oh, this is amazing. How much can't get any better than this? And I come over here and meet everybody. I'm like, oh, yeah, it does. It's pretty special.
That's cool. 120 years in business, and with the Boise metro market being kind of the largest footprint in the bank, right?
Yeah. So we have 12 offices, and Treasure Valley, I'll include Western Idaho as well. So here within the Boise, the greater Boise area, and then over into Nampa, Caldwell, and Fruitland. But it's our largest footprint and largest number of offices. So a really strong presence here. And then Magic Valley, Wood River, which is up in Sun Valley, in that region, and then over to Burley, Mini-Cassia, and then Eastern Idaho is the other grouping of branches up through Rexburg, from Pocatello to Rexburg, and then down into Utah, like I mentioned. And that's where we continue to look to expand. And the neat thing about it too is the bank's always had the focus of, and I will say this to make sure I make it clear, everything we do is predicated on the quality of people and our bankers, and people we employ, train, and build up that take ownership and are empowered to make decisions and own the process of what we do in our communities. So we have incredible people throughout the organization, which is just phenomenal. So we've always based it on find the right people and then build the office, the branch around that, and in the markets that we look to expand into. So it's served them well. It's worked wonderfully, and just have, again, I love it because I get to work with some incredible people that just do a great job day in, day out. So makes it a lot of fun.
With agriculture being kind of the founding industry that's helped those communities that D.L. Evans has been in, what other industries are you seeing out there that are helping fuel these communities again? I don't know. I know this isn't part of what we talked about, but help me understand. Agriculture is one of the top 3 industries in the state of Idaho.
Yeah.
And besides tourism and probably tech, but what industries is D.L. Evans focusing on?
Well, it's a pretty broad mix. Agriculture being the backbone of it, and family history and heritage and where everything was centered, back from the beginning. I think stems from that. So that's always going to be a mainstay and a real focus. We have some just incredible lenders and people with experience in the ag industry, so that helps sets us apart. The rest of it's a real strong influence in certainly commercial real estate, small business banking. It's a pretty broad mix. I can't say we focus on anything specifically or exclusively now. I mean, we're pretty well balanced and spread out in our geographic mix and industry mix. The startup, the tech, some of that, there's those layers that we're always thoughtful about how we, well, with anything, we're a conservative bank. We want to be mindful of how we manage relationships and help build those relationships with our clients and do business the right way to protect everybody's interests and help businesses grow. But we also have a really strong SBA team and division to support, for startups and companies need a little bit of a boost to get the business off the ground or positioned so they can take those next steps. In fact, we've had a lot of success now. We've been Rural Bank Lender of the Year for the SBA. We have a real strong lending presence, and one of our managers over in Nampa, she's just phenomenal in the SBA realm. So that's exciting because we can help those businesses, get traction, give them really good guidance, have the support of the SBA and guarantees, things that come with that, and help them grow. So we try to have a balanced approach as a community bank and being a well-rounded bank, both on the retail side, consumer side, and business side, and everything that comes with it. But Treasure Valley, we've had a lot of activity in the commercial real estate realm, construction development. I mean, right now things are light because of the economy and rates, considerations and how things are going to play out for the duration. And so, the dust is settling right now, and as we reposition and help clients navigate through that and timing. And a lot of them have just pulled back. They understand and are looking at the landscapes like, how does this all come into play? When is going to be the appropriate time to, take those steps, invest, position, and, what's the market going to support, especially on the construction side and, the residential development things that we're seeing and how that's playing out. But we work with some great people and great customers that get it and understand and how they need to position to weather the storm and get through this and position for a better day.
What I like about Idaho is its resiliency. The nation will be faced with downturn times, and we seem to scale right at the top of it all the time. Whether it's agriculture or retail or real estate, it's a resilient market to be in, and I think that's what attracts people to the region. Besides its low cost of living and access to recreation and less regulation. It's such a cool place to be. So,
well, and I hope I don't say this the wrong way. People will say, "Oh, wait a minute," because I came from Oregon. We do have family here and a lot of history, but I've seen a lot of business and clients I worked with over in Oregon that said, enough's enough. We're shifting from states that are more challenging to operate in, and cost of doing business and everything else that goes with it. So to sell that influx, I saw it personally, and we're seeing it here. And of course, same thing in Utah. They're very attractive states to come to, for all those reasons. And so I think the future is bright, and you see the development. I know there's those that say, "Gosh, this is too much, too aggressive, and too expansive in some respects," and the build out of the residential and all of that. But it's bringing a lot of business opportunity, growth, and opportunities for employment for people, and the diversification of it that we're seeing is exciting, especially down in Utah too. It's
all right.
The corridor is unreal to see what's happening down there in the tech sector and the types of industries that are coming to the region, and why they want to be there. I mean, selfishly, I love it because I grew up in Central Oregon. I love the outdoors. There's just so much to do here and explore, and the backpacking and things that I passionate about on a personal level. So it's just like, this is the best of all worlds.
That's awesome. Well, we're glad to have you, Ron. Tell us a little bit more about the community service and that D.L. Evans is a part of. Maybe help share some of the positive things that D.L. Evans done for the communities it served over the years.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I'm glad you asked, because this is, it's something that's critical to me. Working in community banking, I've always had it's been near and dear to me. I've been a Rotarian for years and always very much cared about the idea of service above self, and that everything we do, we should be good stewards of what we're blessed with and the resources and tools we have at our disposal, whether it's time, energy, or money. And the bank has always been a mainstay of how do we give back and help our communities thrive and flourish and develop and grow. So I did pull some numbers. I thought this will be relevant here for Treasure Valley and as the bank as a whole. Over the last 2 years, we've given over $1 million. Now that's across the landscape.
Wow.
In donations and sponsorship, and about 24,000 hours of employee time.
Wow.
Volunteer hours to different organizations, and I think it's 468 was the last count. 468 organizations that we've supported this past year.
Wow.
So, and with Treasure Valley being our largest market, a big percentage of that has been allocated here, of course, and our considerations for how do we support community, do the right thing, and help where help is needed, and focus on organizations and resources, what we can give that helps the community grow the right way, and be thoughtful in that and the time and energy that we put behind it. And our employees are very excited about that. We actually allocate time for every employee to go out and volunteer on the bank's dime to go do that beyond anything they do on their personal level, just to make sure we're being thoughtful about that and entrenched and part of the community from that standpoint. Of course, all of our employees live in the markets we serve, and so there's that selfish interest and motivation that more hands make lighter work, and we're all in this together, and it's more fun. The journey is that much more enjoyable when you get to partner and see things play out, not just professionally, but personally, and the impact that we all have. So the bank has always been committed to that. And that was one thing that really encouraged me when I was considering coming to work here, is what is our commitment to really serving and keeping our dollars. And I guess I would say that as a community bank, selfishly, everything we do, what we generate stays here. It's not going anywhere else. So that's a cornerstone of who we are and what we're all about and what we want to continue to build on.
Okay. Founded in 1904, Albion, Idaho. If you haven't been to Albion, you got to drive through there on your way to Pomerel and check it out. It's really
cool. It's fantastic.
It's really
beautiful
cool.
area. We have an awesome manager there and team down there, by the way.
I'm going to stop in and say hi. How many branches in the metro region, the Treasure Valley?
Treasure Valley, 12, and that's 12. Including Western. 8 in the Treasure Valley area, and then 4 in Western Idaho.
Okay, so branches total. Everywhere to serve.
Yep.
Gives back to their community, allows for the employees of the bank to give to their passions and their causes that they're interested in. I love that.
Yeah.
Yep. Is there anything else, while I have you, that you'd like to educate the listeners on?
I would say this is a blanket statement for the benefit of everybody. Through this last little upheaval and the failure of Silicon Valley Bank, there's been a lot of questions about FDIC coverage and interest. We can speak to all that, and we have the tools beyond just what we have internally. We have partnerships and can broker CDs and sweep accounts to make sure people are fully insured, and we can take care of that in-house. But having those conversations, and it's been really impactful to us to see the growth. We've actually had a bump in core deposits because people are searching that out, and they want guidance, they want reassurance, people they trust and can count on to be there for them. And we've had wonderful outcomes from that because we just have really talented bankers that are taking the time to sit with their clients and be thoughtful in that and build long-term relationships, not just the here and now, but beyond. And so that's been really encouraging and satisfying to see that play out and what our teams are doing and accomplishing. So there you go.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's kind of the elephant in the room right now is what's going to happen to my money. And, what I like about Idaho financial institutions is the credibility, number one, the people, the longevity that these community banks have been around for a long time. And there's a lot of people that do business with the folks that they know, like, and trust. And that's what we're building here in our region, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. There you go. Well said.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. And it's people helping people.
Yep. Make sure we didn't miss anything. Thank you, Ron, for taking the time to help share the D.L. Evans story. Ron, D.L. Evans Bank has been a member of the Chamber since 1999, so almost 25 years. We're looking forward to helping celebrate your 120th anniversary here. Let's cut the big ribbon. Let's have a milestone anniversary celebration. You let me know. We'll bring the party to you. Thanks
Perfect.
again for your time, Ron.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for letting us share our story.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.